Hello, dear participants. Thank you for your participation in this research study, and welcome to our presentation about predatory journals. We would like to start by introducing the study purpose and the research team. The research team is Dr. Samaya Maha, Ms. Ami Abu Shaheen, and Dr. Muawiyah Hamza from King Fahd Medical City Research Center. This study aims to assess the effect of this educational intervention on the physicians' and researchers' knowledge, practices, and perceptions towards predatory or fake journals. The study participants will be randomly assigned into two groups. The intervention group will receive educational training and a hard copy of educational material, while the control group will receive only basic information about the predatory journal. As a participant, you are expected to complete a questionnaire before the training session, 2 weeks and 6 weeks after the participation. The questionnaire should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes. A reminder will be sent to the intervention group after 1 week to review the educational materials before completing the second and third questionnaire. You can obtain further information from the research team. As predatory journals are a growing problem in the research and evidence-based world, we are hoping by the end of this presentation you will be able to define fake or predatory journals, identify fake or predatory journal characteristics, assess fake or predatory journals harmful on both authors and research, and be able to use available tools to identify journal reliability. Publishing is the dissemination of literature or information. Researchers publish their work for many reasons. First, for sharing knowledge and experience. Publishing is the official way to communicate any scientific work. Therefore, it is important for researchers to publish to add to the body of knowledge and to encourage other researchers to repeat their work or experiment or build on to continue the development in a specific field. The second reason is to affect health practice or policy. An output or results of the research can guide policymakers such as MOH or other authorities to change specific health practices or policies. Also, researchers are publishing their work to get higher career opportunities and to maintain or enhance their career and CV. Now, after knowing the main reasons for publishing, you need to know the organizations for standard publication policy. That brings us to highlight the standard of publication. It is necessary to agree upon the standard of expected ethical behavior for all parties involved in the act of publishing: the author, the journal editor, the peer reviewer, and the publisher. To follow the best practices on ethical matters, errors, and retractions, many organizations were established and policy was developed. Here we list the main organizations for standard publication worldwide. First, the World Association of Medical Editors, WAME. WAME, established in 1995, is a global non-profit voluntary association of editors of peer-reviewed medical journals from countries throughout the world. WAME develops policies and recommendations for best practices for medical journal editors and has a syllabus for editors that are encouraged to follow. WAME has 1,830 members, representing more than 1,000 journals from 92 countries. Second is the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA. The OASPA is a trade association that was established in 2008 in order to represent the interests of open access OA publishers globally in all scientific, technical, and scholarly disciplines. This mission, carried out through exchanging information, setting standards, advancing models, support, education, and the promotion of innovation. Third, Committee of Publication Ethics, COPE. COPE, established in 1997 by a small group of medical journal editors in the United Kingdom. It now has over 12,000 members worldwide from all academic fields. It is a non-profit organization that provides advice to editors and publishers on all aspects of publication ethics and, in particular, how to handle cases of research and publication misconduct. Fourth, International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, ICMJE. The ICMJE is a small working group of general medical journal editors whose participants meet annually and fund their own work on the recommendation for the conduct, reporting, editing, and publication of scholarly work in medical journals. Fifth, Council of Science Editors, CSE. CSE is a non-profit organization that supports editorial practice among scientific writers. The CSE offers guidance on ethics and practice in scientific publishing. The term predatory journal was invented by Jeffrey Beall, a librarian from the University of Colorado. However, there are many other terms used with the same meaning, such as hijacked, faked, questionable, pseudo-journals, or publishing corruption, illegitimate publishing, and deceptive publishing. Let us start with defining the predatory journals. Till now, there is no standard definition existing for predatory journals. Predatory journals refer to low-quality publications that do not conduct peer review or meet scholarly publishing standards, and that exist only for financial profit. Also, predatory publishers and journals are defined as those that exploit the gold open access model for their own profit, but do not provide the editorial and publishing services associated with legitimate journals. It is essential to distinguish between predatory and hijacked terms, as hijacked journals refer to the creation of a counterfeit website that mimics the website of a legitimate journal for the purpose of soliciting submission and collecting fees from authors who believe that they are sending their work to a legitimate journal. So what they exactly do either A. Duplicate the original journal website, or B. Create a website and claim that they are the true journal's website. One factor that may be contributing to the rise of predatory journals is that the characteristics of predatory journals have not been described, standardized, or broadly accepted. Therefore, it is difficult to take an evidence-based approach towards educating researchers on how to avoid them. However, there are some characteristics of predatory journals that can help you to spot them, such as the following. The scope of interest of predatory journals is vague. Most of the predatory journals send spam emails that have a poor language with typos and below the standard, provide no institutional affiliations, and falsely claim to be indexed in any legitimate database. The journal website is not easily accessible in an internet search. It can be difficult to identify articles published in the journal when searching Google Scholar or other databases. Little or no information is provided regarding the editor or editorial board. Some predatory journals are falsely listing the editorial board. Lack of transparency or honesty regarding the ownership and headquarters location of the publisher of predatory journals. Article processing fees and peer review are not mentioned in the instructions for authors. Predatory journals have a very short time frame between submission and publication. The name of the journal is very similar to the name of a well-known established journal with a good reputation. Predatory journals use fake impact factors on the journal home page. The journal claims to have an impact factor, despite the fact that it is a new journal, in which case it cannot have an impact factor yet. Predatory journals advertise their fake impact factors in spam email and on their websites. Many authors mistakenly believing that their work is in an impact factor journal. There are many fake impact factors, such as Universal Impact Factor, UIF, Global Impact Factor, GIF, and Site Factor. See figure for more fake impact factors. Here is an example of an invitation email sent by one of the predatory journals. You may think that your work is brilliant. The simple fact that you get several requests to publish something should be the first warning sign. So, if you look at the email carefully, you will notice many of their features. First of all, they will confuse you by using a journal name that is very similar to a legitimate one. Moreover, it mostly includes flattering, personalized greeting, such as here they used esteemed researcher like you. They will claim to be indexed and will provide no information about the editor academic affiliation, as you see in their signature. This diagram shows a closer look at how the predatory journals work compared to a legitimate journal. When the author submits an article to a journal, the selection and correction process begins through checking if all the journal requirements are met or not. Then the editors make the initial evaluation to the article. If the article is worthy of consideration, the invitation will be sent to experts to peer review. Once the experts agree, they will review and send a report to the editor. The editor will then decide to accept, revise, or reject. If accepted, an article processing charge must be paid by the author to process the publication, and the journal will ensure free access, storage, and visibility of the article for the long term. However, in predatory journals, they do not apply the standardized peer review process and therefore no quality guarantee, and also may not offer free access, storage, and visibility of the article. Plenty is being written about predatory publishers, but little is being done to stop them. The term blacklist was pointed out of what it claims are predatory journals. Blacklist identifies journals highly suspected to be fake. The one valiant effort to expose them was Beall's list of predatory publishers. Jeffrey Beall reports that the number of predatory publishers has risen from 18 in 2011 to nearly 930 in 2016. Beall used criteria based in part on two policy statements, the COPE Code of Conduct for Journal Publisher and the Principles of Transparency and Best Practice in Scholarly Publishing from WAME. In 2015, he added two additional lists, misleading metrics and hijacked journals. However, Beall did not list the specific criteria he used to categorize a given journal as predatory, and he mistakenly blacklisted some legitimate journals and publishers, particularly those from low and middle income countries. Beall took his list down in 2017, probably due to an increasing number of lawsuits from the publishers included in the list. At present, the list is maintained and updated by an anonymous scholar at a different site. Cables International, a US company introduced in 2017. The company does produce a list of predatory journals, but unlike Beall's list, it's not available for free and requires a paid subscription. The criteria for inclusion in the blacklist is clearly set out and publicly available. Whitelist is a list of credible and legitimate open access journals. Whitelist criteria refer to proficiency and adherence to best practices to confirm the legitimacy of a journal. Here are some of the main identified whitelists that we will go through. However, the confirmed whitelists remain controversial. 1. Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ. This is a service that indexes high-quality, peer-reviewed, open-access research journals. The list is comprehensive and covers all open-access academic journals that use an appropriate quality control system and is not limited to particular languages or subjects. 2. Journal Citation Reports, JCR. presenting the journal impact factor, JIF, and other journal indicators. It was specifically intended to support librarians who wanted to evaluate their collections and researchers who wished to choose an appropriate journal for publication. 3. Additional resources for journal selection can be checked out, or other whitelists of journals and publishers such as index databases, for example, PubMed, Medline, Scopus, Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA, Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE, International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, ICMJE. A study published in 2015 by Shen and Bjork describes the distribution of the predatory publishers across geographic regions. The study shows that 27% of predatory publishers were from India and 26.8% were impossible to determine. Also, the study determined the distribution of authors by geographic regions, from what countries do the authors come. Their findings showed that around 35% of the authors were from India, followed by 16.4% from Africa. Consequences of predatory publishing practices could harm both science and authors or their institutes. This table summarizes some of the predatory harm effects. As for science in evidence-based medicine, the physician relies on published studies in their therapeutic plan. However, it is difficult for them to distinguish good peer-reviewed articles from low-quality papers, and thus mislead their therapeutic decision. Also, publishing in predatory journals will affect the general science quality, with difficulties to react to these low-quality articles. Another point is the waste of resources, as good research does not get the visibility they deserve. On the other hand, authors who published in the predatory journals will lose their credibility. Your paper won't be accepted in another journal, and unlike legitimate journals, your article will lose visibility and long-term storage. Whether or not authors are aware that they are submitting their research to a predatory journal, when others discovered that their research has been published in a predatory journal, the legitimacy of their research will be questioned. Also, your name as a researcher can be associated with one of these journals. So, how to avoid predatory journals? There are some checkpoints you can go through before submitting your article to avoid potential predatory journals. 1. First of all, you may check the blacklist of predatory publishers and journals. 2. You may check whether the journal is in the whitelist, such as Directory of Open Access Journals. 3. Also, you might search the journal in an internet search engine to see if there is any information about fraud. 4. On the journal site, assess journal transparency, for example, with regard to ownership, peer review, and the costs of publishing, and information related to journal staff, such as name and contact details. 5. Check out the editorial board to see if it comprises experts in the field. Contact one or two of them to see if they are aware of the journal board. Six. Determine if the publisher is affiliated with professional publishing organizations like the Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE, and Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA. Finally, use evaluation tools such as the Think, Check, Submit tool. How to evaluate a journal or where to publish. To evaluate a journal, there are many tools published online. However, the Think, Check, Submit tool is the most recognized one. It is a checklist produced by a collection of scholarly publishing organizations campaign to help researchers identify trusted journals through a range of tools and practical resources. This international cross-sector initiative aims to educate researchers, promote integrity, and build trust in credible research and publications. First of all, you need to consider the following. Are you submitting your research to a trusted journal? Is it the right journal for your work? If the answer is yes, you may move to the next step. Check. To make sure you choose trusted journals for your research, you need to answer the yes or no checklist. The checklist has 7 sections to answer. Do you or your colleagues know the journal? Have you read any articles in the journal before? Is it easy to discover the latest papers in the journal? Can you easily identify and contact the publisher? Is the publisher's name clearly displayed on the journal website? Can you contact the publishers by telephone, email, and post? Is the journal clear about the type of peer review it uses? Are articles indexed in the services that you use? Is it clear what fees will be charged? Does the journal site explain what these fees are for and when they will be charged? Do you recognize the editorial board? Have you heard of the editorial board members? Do the editorial board members mention the journal on their own websites? Is the publisher a member of a recognized industry initiative? If the journal is open access, is it listed in the DOAJ? If the journal is open access, does the publisher belong to the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA? Is the publisher a member of another trade association? For the last section of the checklist, Section 7, is the publisher a member of a recognized industry initiative? You need to check the website. For example, if the journal is open access, is it listed on the DOAJ? You go to the directory of open access journals and download the Excel sheet that has all the data about the trusted open access journals. Another website that you can check is Journal Citation Reports, JCR. You may enter the journal name in the text bar and then click Enter. If the journal is listed at their website, the journal profile will appear, providing the impact factor and the citation analysis for the journal. Also, you can check if the publisher belongs to the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, OASPA, or a member of another trade association. Simply, you go to the association website and check if the publisher has a membership. The final step in the Think, Check, Submit tool is Submit. Submit your article if you can answer yes to most or all of those questions on the list. 1. You need to be confident your chosen journal will have a suitable profile among your peers to enhance your reputation and your chance of gaining citations. 2. Publishing in the right journal for your research will raise your professional profile and help you progress in your career. 3. Your paper should be indexed or archived and be easily discoverable. 4. You should expect a professional publishing experience where your work is reviewed and edited. 5. Only then should you submit your article. So, what action can be taken to stop predatory journals? The best strategy to fight against those journals is to train prospective authors and researchers about the hazards of predatory journals. Moreover, awareness campaign, educational outreach, webinars on how to avoid publishing in these journals is very important. However, in too many settings, promotions committees and other such bodies focus on the numbers of those publications. Those who reward academics for publishing must make efforts to assess journal quality and reward only the best practices. To conclude, no list is sufficient. Do-it-yourself is the best way to investigate the journal. Use Think, Check, Submit checklist. Seek consultation from expert or research consultation offices. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.